with the database or model, but model form bind with what? Database. So Django Forms framework is a powerful system for handling user input validations and rendering HTML forms. So it is web forms. It manages the complexities of web forms. Okay, structured way to interact with user submit data. I said Django forms are developed using Django.forms package, and Django.forms package provide two classes. One is a form and one more is a model form. And when you're saying a form class, it is a generic form class which is not bind with the model. So this form data is read by view and perform some generic operations. Okay. And how you are developing a form class by narrating form. And this form class is there in Django.forms package. And within this, you have a field name. You define the fields, field name and data type, and field name and what is that type. Okay. And you try to write some validation methods. After developing a form, it is rendered within template using the following methods. That is, you can render the form as a table. You can render the form as a paragraph. You can render the form as what? Unordered list. So you can render the form as a table or paragraph or unordered list. So generally, what are the basic steps? Okay, what are the basic steps to work with the forms? So these are the basic steps. Okay, these are the basic steps to work with the form. So these are the basic steps to work with forms. So the first one is, okay, you have to develop a form. Develop a form. So first thing is you have to develop the form. After developing the form, okay, so within this form, develop a form. After developing a form, okay, use the form. Okay, use the form. Okay, use the form. This is using form, okay, is done in two ways. Okay, one is so render form within HTML. And second one is create form object. Create form object. Create form object and validate data. Create form object and validate data. I said no. So form is used for performing different things. It is for creating an HTML form where you input the data as submit. And after submitting the data, okay, you want to validate that data. Then how you validate the data? By creating again form with what data. You create empty form or you create a form with the data. So when you create a form with the data, you can do some validations. You can do some validations. So let us see. So let us see how to work with this. What you do first is create one project. What you do first is create one project. So here, create one project. So open the folder where you want to create the project. Okay. So just open the folder where you want to create the project. So create a project saying Django admin and start the project and give the name of the project. So what is your project is some project 16. Then open the project here. This is a project, and within the project, so create within the project, create an application by saying python manage dot py start application 1. So I created project and I created application. Then open the project here. Open the project. So here, this is your project. So after this, now by default, you don't get any module called forms. Is it any module in your application called forms? No. Okay. There is no module called forms. So by default, you'll get the modules like views, model, apps, admin, okay, test. But you don't have any module called forms. If you want to create a module, you create a separate module for forms. You can write the forms within the views only. So that depends on your requirement. You can create a form within the view, or you can create a separate module. You can create a separate module with forms.py. And within that module, you can create the forms. Within that module, you can create the forms. Okay, or you can create a forms directly within the view. So why you are creating a form to input the data? See, why you are creating a form to input the data? To input the data and read the data and performing certain operations. Okay. So here, after creating a project, so first step is, okay, first step is create project and then create application within, create application within project. Then within application, create, create a module. So create a module. So what is a module you are creating? Forms.py. So you are creating one module called forms.py because I want to write the forms separately. I want to write the forms separately. Then I created one module called forms.py. So in this forms.py, you are creating a form, and form is nothing but a class. Form is nothing but a class, and there is a form. And what is the name of the form is, assume that there is a form called person form. What is a form is? Person form is a form. But how can you inherit a form? Form is a class. Every form should inherit which class? Form class. Okay, means this is an abstracts. These are the abstracts provided by whom? Django. And these are inherited and developed what here? Forms. Now try to import this form from Django dot forms import. What is the name of the class is form. Django dot forms import which class? Form class. So what person is having? Person is having a name. Okay, person is having a name, and here I'm saying D. No, this is a form, and Django dot forms provided. Django dot forms provided different data types. Django dot forms provided different data types like character field, email field, means whatever HTML fields you find, all the fields provided by which one? Yes, data types. If you see this data types, you find various data types. Okay, input field types. Okay, now these are the classes. Now if you see there is a character field, that is nothing but text input, and there is an integer field which is for number input, and there is a float field. This is for float input. There is a decimal field, a boolean field, date field, time field. Okay, and there is a date time field, email field, URL field, file field, image field. See, you find different types of fields in HTML. For example, in HTML, okay, for example, in HTML, in HTML you find okay, input type. You find input type. You'll say input type equal to what here? Checkbox. You'll say input type equal to checkbox. But what is the equivalent field in forms? What is the equivalent field in forms? Now this is the equivalent field in what? Forms. What is the name of the field is choice field. Now that can be drop down. That can be a drop down. Select multiple fields and this is drop down. Okay. Okay, these are different types of fields. All these are different types of fields, and even fields is having an attribute called widgets. For example, here you don't have a password field. Okay, you don't have a password field, but you have which field? Character field. You don't have a password field. You have which field? Character field. But I want to use this character field as which field? Password field. Then you take the help of what? Widgets. Okay, you take the help of which one? Widget. Widget is nothing but HTML fields. You apply HTML fields as a widgets to which one? Form fields. By using one attribute called which one? Widget. Ring honor. See, all these are the fields. So there are different types of fields. You can use it. Okay, now for every field, it will create one input type. For every field, it will create one input type. But always the input type is what here? Input type is a text. See a checkbox input. Boolean field is nothing but which field? Checkbox input. Ring or not. So all these are different types of fields provided by which one? Forms. Django.forms. Okay. It will provide all these fields. But I said no, every field is also having one attribute called widget. It is having an attribute called widget. It is having one attribute called so it is having, okay, we'll discuss that, but let us see this one first. So create, so name is which field? So name, what we'll do is from Django import forms. Can I write like this? Tell me, huh? Yes or no? No, no, yes sir. From Django import forms dot form, because I need to select what types, and types are from which package? Forms. Okay. Or you have to write the complete. You have to write what? Complete. So I'm writing your forms dot which field here? Character field. Forms dot character field. So I've taken the character field, and this is a character field. Okay, name is a character field. Then after that, I try to take email. Okay, email ID. Then I'm saying here forms dot. What is the name of the field is email field. So I try to take two fields. Okay, one is a name and one is a name and one more is what? Email. One is a name and one more is a email. Here now that is nothing but validation. Okay, maximum length, and if you define that, that is called as which one? Validation. So you can do the validation. Okay. If you want, you can define that maximum length. Okay, so what is the maximum length of this field? I'm trying to define the maximum length of this is what? 20. Okay. But here I've taken one more type. And what is that another type is? Email field. So when I say email field, it is by default is having one pattern, email pattern. It is created with email pattern. I don't require to check any validation. But if you want to check with any validation, you can check the validation like I want to accept only emails which are end with some gmail.com. Okay, gmail.com or some okay x.com like that. Then you can verify that. condition. Okay, now that validations we'll discuss it. Okay, but here I created how many here? Two. One is a name and one more is what? Email. Sir, what is the difference between forms.py, models.py? किधर से आते हैं यार सुबह सुबह? हाँ? हाँ? क्या यार? You people, how you get the job, I don't know. हाँ? हाँ? How you get the job यार? You'll get a job, हाँ? नहीं आता यार. हाँ? कल तक क्या पढ़े थे अपन? मॉडल्स. मॉडल्स पढ़े. मॉडल बोले तो क्या है? डेटाबेस. हाँ? मॉडल बोले तो क्या है? डेटाबेस. फॉर्म्स बोले तो फॉर्म ही है. फॉर्म्स मीन्स फॉर्म ओनली, राइट? देन क्या है यार? मिनिमम कॉमन सेंस से सोचना ना यार. हाँ? You have to think. What is the question? What is the question here? What is the difference between forms.py and models.py कहते हैं. और डिफरेंस है क्या? डिफरेंस बोले तो डिफरेंस यू फाइंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन व्हाट सिमिलर टाइप्स. Nobody will ask you what is the difference between model and form. Model is for database. Form is for input. हाँ? कैसा है यार? फिर कुछ बोले तो फील हो जाते. हाँ? If something is said right, ऐसे फील हो जाते आप लोग. क्या बोलना सुनील? और सुनील, what is your problem? Ranjan, Super, what do you want to do? You want recording, huh? Hmm? What do you want to do here? So here, created a form. That's the reason you should come to the classes regularly. If you come to the classes regularly, you'll find a difference between what is a form, what is a model, what is a view. हाँ? अभी थोड़े दिन के बाद what is view बोल के पूछते. Because you have to come to the classes regularly. हाँ? Then you can understand everything. जुम्मा जुम्मा को आए तो कुछ नहीं होता. Okay? Yes? You have to come to the regular, to the classes. Understood? Right. Name and one more is what? Email. So I created like this. First of all, we are going very slow. हाँ? क्यों बोले तो बहुत सारे programs लिखना है इधर. You are not writing only one program, right? Suppose if it is Python means you write everything in one program. NumPy बोले तो खाली functions. Pandas बोले तो खाली functions. Matplotlib is just functions only. Which function is for what? Which function is for what? That's all. Yes or no? But when it comes to this Django, you are developing it. Are you writing? Are you using or developing? Developing. There using. There you are using all the functions. In pandas, you are using functions. You are using types. You are using functions. You are using data, predefined data only. Everything is predefined. You are just using it. But here, everything you are developing it by following the rules given by whom? Django. So which one is easy? Developing or using a using. But developing is required because in real time you develop. In real time you develop but you don't use it because all the things will not be available, right? Then what do you do it? You develop it. You don't use it. Huh? So here you are developing everything. In form, in views, any views are there? No. In model, any models are there? No. Who will develop? Programmer. You develop the models, you develop the views, you develop the forms, you develop the templates. Everything you develop it by following the rules given by Django. Everything you develop it. Okay, right? Yes. So that is the difference. In models dot what is a PY is a program. Is a Python program or it is a module. Huh? Inside the models.py, you define what? Models. Your application models you define within models.py. Models represent database. Each model represent table. Models represent database. Each model represent table. How we communicate with the database using model, and how you input the data using form. You already created which form? HTML form. Now you are developing which form? Django form. You are developing which form? Django form. What is the difference between HTML form and Django form? In HTML form. Okay, so HTML form is independent. Anyway, Django form should be converted into what? HTML form. But the difference is, whatever data you input, you can do some validations. But HTML form also can do validations. But how you do it? JavaScript. Getting or not? But Django form, how you do validations using Python code. I don't require to use which script? JavaScript. Getting or not? HTML form, if I want to write data of HTML form into database, I have to write some code. But when it comes to the Django form, I can bind, I can link, I can bind or I can link Django form with what? Model. I can link Django form with what? Model. Means whatever I enter in the form, that will enter into what? Database. By just writing a single statement. Validations. Okay, communicating with all these things you can do it by using which form? Django form. But anyway, Django form should be rendered into which type? HTML. So what is a form where you input the data? So why I'm developing a person form to input whose details? Person details. Why I'm developing a person form to input person details? Every person is having a name and one more is what? Email. I want to create a registration form. I want to create a login form. I want to create a registration form. I want to create a login form. In registration form, you enter all the details. But you can create that registration form directly in the template or not. Yes. But I'm creating a registration form using which class? Form class. Advantage, validations, communicating with the model. Validations and communicating with the model. That is the advantage. Understood? Right? So here I created a person form. Sunil, you are not saying anything. Bolo here, Sunil. Telga. हाँ क्वेश्चन उधर से क्वेश्चन बहुत पूछ दिया बस हो गया नो रेस्पॉन्स if I don't give response he'll think that sir is not giving response huh? Sunil is there Sunil is there thank you thank you sir बोला तो is very rude now huh? Understood right I created a form and this form see the first step is you have to create a form then how can I use this form you have to create see develop a view okay yeah very good develop a view I'm creating a view here so this is a view where where I need to create which object? Form object. Okay, now forms are reusable. Now this is one more advantage, right? Suppose same form you want in multiple templates. If it is HTML form, you have to write the same thing again and again. But here, once I develop a form, this form can be used either in one template, or this form can be used in more than one template. Is it that form is reusable or not? Yes. But how you are reusing it? By creating object. By creating what here? Object. Okay. Now suppose I want to input. I want to input. I want to input whose details? Person details. Then this person form should be rendered in what? Template. This person form should be rendered into what? Template. Can I use a class directly? No. In order to use a class, I need to create what? Object. In order to use a class, I need to create object of which class? Form class. And that form object should be sent to what? Template. And you have to insert that form inside the template. You have to insert that form within the template. Okay. Suppose assume that this is home. Okay, this is the home. This is taking a request. Okay, this take a request. And here I'm saying from okay, from application one dot from application one dot forms import. What is the name of the form? Person form. So create an object of person form, some p form, person form equal to person form. So I created object of which form? Person form. Now this is empty form. This is called as which form? Empty form. But you can also create a form by giving data. You can also create a form with the data. I can say name because these are nothing but values. Okay, while creating a form, you'll say input type. Input type equal to text, name equal to some field name, and value. Value will define it or not. Yes. If I don't give any values, then this form is which form? Empty form. This is which form? Empty form. But if you want to create a form with some data, you can create a form with the data. Now you are calling the constructor, right? And this constructor takes some keyword arguments. And these keyword arguments are nothing but name of the fields. Now, how many fields are there here? Two fields. What is the first one is name. And what is the second one is email. You can define that. Okay. Now, I said here person form. Person form. Now, this is creating. This is creating which form? Empty form. This is creating empty form. After creating the form, this form has to be rendered within the template. Then for that, you are saying response. Response equal to render. Okay, response equal to render. You are sending a request. You can use a request data. Now create one template. What is the template is person template dot html, and you are sending this form. You are sending this form as a context parameter. What is the name of this is p form, and what is the object name is p form. Okay, this is person form. I send it to which one? Template. As which parameter? Context parameter. You send with which parameter? Context parameter. Okay. So return. What you written here? Response. Okay. Then next is okay. Then next is we have to create a template or not? Yes. Create a template. Create a folder. So what is the folder I'm creating? Templates. The folder is templates, and within the template I'm creating one template. What is the template is person template dot html. Person template dot html. Now this is template, and in this within the form tag you need to insert, this form. You need to insert this form. And how you are inserting the form? Using insert tag. Insert tag. What is the name of this is p form. P form dot you are inserting as what? Table. If it is table, you are using as a table. If it is a table, you are using what? As a table. If it is a what do you call it as a paragraph? If it is a paragraph, You are saying as what? Paragraph. Okay, as a paragraph. If it is unordered list, you are saying as what? Unordered list. Okay, you are inserting as what here? Table. As a table. You create. You create a table. Table border. Define the border and define which one? Width. So define the width. Now this is the beginning of the table and this is what end of the table. But are you created any input fields here? No. You created input fields as which object? Form object. Correct or not? So we develop a form using which class? Form class. We develop a form using which class? Form class. Understood? What do you say here? Yes or no? Okay, you insert this form as a table. See, previously what you are doing it, you are directly saying input type. Input type is what? Text. Okay, input type is a text. Input type is a text. Name equal to name. Name equal to name like this. Yes or no? But input type, I'm writing input type is a email. Okay, name equal to what here? Email. So are you writing this code? Are you writing this code? No, you are not writing this code. You are not writing this code. This input type, this form input fields, this form input fields represented as what here? Form. This form input fields are represented as what here? Form. So how many fields are there? Two fields. One is name. One more is email. So for every field it will create one input type, input field or not? Yes. So this is a character field, right? So what is the input type is text. This is which field? Email field. What is the input type is email. Are you creating input fields? No. Input fields are created. Input fields are created automatically by server. By using which object? Form object. By using which object? Form object. Now here I'm inserting p form dot as what here? Table. As a table. I'm inserting this as what? Table. Yeah, it's a predefined. It's a predefined. This is object and this is attribute. Okay. So p form dot as a table. Means you are inserting this form as a table within the template. Then next what you define? URL. Define the URLs dot py. In URLs dot py, import the view from application one dot viewers. Import. What is the name of the view is home. So I'm just giving a path. This is empty. And what is the name of the view is home. Okay, then I define the template path. I define the template path. And before that, I just install the application and define the template path. And here I'm writing a base directory slash, what is the name of this is templates. Okay, template path also defined. And then that's all. Just open the terminal and run the server. Okay, Python. So open the terminal and run the server. Python manage.py run server. Okay, right? Yes. Now just open this. So this is a home. Now you can see there is a name and input field. But see the source, view page source. Is it input labels are created or not? Yes. Is it input type is created or not? Yes. What is the input type is text. What is the name is name. What is the maximum length is 20. What is the input type is email. What is the name is email. What is the maximum length is 320. Understood or not? Okay, so are you develop this? Are you develop this or this is created automatically? It is rendered. Your form object is rendered into HTML. Your form object is rendered into HTML. Now here you input the data. Here you input the data. Some a at the rate some gmail.com. Then after that you submit the data. After that you submit data. You submit the data by using get request, or what is that? Post request. You submit the data by using get request or post request. Okay, clear this one? Okay, you create a person form. Okay, but you can create a form with the data also. You can create a form with the data. Now assume that there is another, okay, there is another view I'm creating. There is another view I'm creating, that is home one. Okay, there is another view called which one? Home one. So P form equal to person form. P form equal to person form. This person form I want to create with some data. So how many fields are there in person form? Two fields. What is the first one is name. Okay, I just write a name equal to Naresh. Comma, what is the second one is email. Okay, I'm just writing Naresh at the rate nareshid.com. So I create a person form with the data or without data? With the data. That person form is created with data or without data? With the data. So that is a name and one more is a email. These are two fields. Then after that you are rendering this form. Render request comma. What is the name of the template? Person template dot html. Same template. Okay, person template dot html, and this is a context parameters. Okay, that is a p form. Okay, is a key, and p form is a object. P form is a object. You are rendering this person form within the template. Is converting form object into equivalent HTML and sending to whom? Client. As a part of which one? Response. Okay, go to urs.py. What will I do? This is home. This is a home, and then I'll take another path. And what is this here? Home 1. Now this is nothing but home 1. So I try to create two things here. One is a home, another one is yes. P form only, right? P form, and what is the object is P form. So here I define the URLs. Now there is a home and home 1, comma, what is the name of this is home 1, because I want to create a form by populating the data, by storing the data. Okay, populating the data or storing the data. Yeah, you can create a CSS. You can create what? CSS. I'll tell you. Okay, you can create a CSS. So now you can call. What is the second one is home 1. Home 1. Got an unexpected keyword argument. So what is the keyword argument? Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, yes. Now here I created a person form with the name. What is the name here? See, I created a person form. So person form is there, and this person form is having some fields. Sorry, this person form is having some fields. Just open this forms.py. What is the first one is name, and second one is what? Email. Okay, but I want to initialize this name as well as what? Email. What do you have to do? Or what do you require? What do you require here? This is creating object of a form or not? Yes. This object is created by calling which one? Or this object is created by calling which one? Constructor. See what it is saying? Base form dot init got an unexpected keyword argument called which one? Name. unexpected keyword argument called which one? Name. Is saying that there is no name. What is saying? There is no name. Got an unexpected keyword argument called name. Because it, whenever, see, is it any constructor in your class? Is it any constructor in form class? No. If the constructor is not there in form class, it will call the constructor of which class? Super class. So person form is which class? Subclass. And form is which class? Super class. So are you having a constructor in subclass? No. Then it will call the constructor of which class? Super class. Super class. But super class, will it initialize the name and email? No. Super class cannot initialize the name and what is that? Email. It cannot initialize the name and what is that? Email. So what generally superclass will do is it will receive, see, it will receive post data in the form of dictionary. I'll just otherwise we have to write a constructor. Otherwise you have to write what here? Constructor. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm sending this data by storing in what here? What is this here? Dictionary. So what dictionary is having key and value? This is a key and this is what here? Value. This is a key and this is a value, right? So let me see this. Otherwise, you have to write a constructor. Otherwise, you have to write a constructor because you have not written the constructor. If you don't write a constructor, it will call the constructor of which type? Super type. So name, what is the name is Naresh. What is the email is naresh@nareshid.com. It means whenever you want to initialize it, you need to initialize it by sending the data in the form of dictionary. You have to send the data in the form of what? Dictionary. Otherwise, you have to write constructor. Because now you are calling the constructor of which class? Super class. And the constructor of super class receive only dictionary. Constructor of superclass receive only dictionary and that dictionary contain the key and value. So what is the key field name? What is the value, a default value of that field? What is the key field name? And what is the value value of that field? Value is value of that field. Just to see here. Just to see here. Okay. So what I'm doing it, I'm writing home one. What is the name of the view is home one. What is the name is Naresh. What is the email is naresh@nareshid.com. See the source. Now you can see is it this input field is created with a value or not? Yes. What is the value I've given? Naresh. What is the value I've given? naresh@nareshid.com. Understood or not? Yes. This is how you create a input field with a default value. This is how you create an input field with a default value. Okay. So you can also do the validations. You can also, yes, you understood this two things. What is the first one is creating which form? Empty form. What is the second one? What is the second one? Creating form. Creating form with what? Values. Second one is creating form with what? Values. First one is creating form. Second one is creating form with the values. Creating form with the value. What we have done, we just create a form and render that form within the template. Okay, after rendering into the template, you enter the data in the form, you submit. After submitting to the view, will you check the validations or not? Yes. Is it whatever data input inside the form, is it a valid or invalid? Before storing into the database, you validate. Is it the data input within the form is correct or not? For example, I want name should be given in capital letters. Okay, suppose if the name is given in small letters, then I want to raise one error. Suppose email should end with some gmail.com. If email is not end with gmail.com, I want to raise what? Error. I want to write some validation error. Now these are validations or not? Yes. When you do these validations after submitting the data, you submit the data to the view. What view will do? It will receive this data and check is it this data is correct or not. But how it will check is it this data is correct or not? By storing this data again inside what? Form. This data again you store inside the form and then you check is it this data is valid or invalid. So form is used for doing two things. One is for input and one more is for validation. Form is used for two things. One is for input. You input the data and after input the data you do what? Validations even by creating object of which one? Form. Suppose assume that here I input the data. Suppose assume that I input the data here. Assume that now I create one button because I need to submit or not. Yes. Then I create input type equal to submit. Input type is submit. Now you cannot create a button in form. You cannot create a button in form. Form is only to input. Form is only for input. Okay, not do actions. Okay, not actions, only inputs. Okay, so input type is submit. Create table. What do you create here? Table row. This is in one row, and this is table. Table what? Data column. This is a column. Input type is submit. Okay. Now input type is submit. I've taken. Okay. So what will happen after giving data home? I just call home here. I call the home. You try to input the data, some Naresh and Naresh at the rate. So Naresh ID dot com. And after that, click on submit. So once you click on submit, now this data is sent as which request? As which request? Get request to the same view or different view? Same view. But if you want to handle this using same view, then use another method. Use what? Another method. Okay, what I'm doing is I want to handle the data. Just will create another. But up to this, you understood? Bolo yaar, forms are very important because in Django, you never create HTML forms. In Django, always use Django forms only. Use which forms? Django forms, and you must know how to develop a forms. Web forms are Django forms. Okay, na? Yes, I'll create another one. Otherwise, there is a home 2. This home 2 is trying to handle the request. This home 2 is trying to handle the request by using two methods. One is a get and one more is a post. If the request method is get, it should create one empty form. If the request method is a get, it should create one empty form. Empty form. It should create one empty form and send it to whom? Client. Then client will input the data. Client will input the data and click on submit. If you click on submit, the request is again come to the same view. The request again come to what? Same view. But this time I send the data by using which method? Post method. By using which method? Post method. What you do in post method? You read the data. What do you do in post method? You read the data submitted by whom? Client. You read the data submitted by whom? Client. After reading the data, what do you do? It perform some operations. What operations you perform? You validate. You validate whether okay that username and email is valid or invalid. Oh yeah, na here, queue another template. Same template only. What is it? Okay. I'm using the same template to perform different operations. First one is creating which form? Empty form. Second one is form with the default values. Form with the default values are storing values. Third one is handling how many requests? Two requests. Get request and post request. Get request and post request. Here I am writing if request dot method double equal to get. If the request method is get, what you are doing? You are creating one empty form. Empty form you are creating person form. This is empty. This form is what now? Empty. After creating empty form, you render this by saying response. Okay, response equal to render. Same, right? I copy this one. Okay, you render this person form within the template. You render this person form within the template and return the response. Now this is if the request method is what? Get. If the request method is post, what you have to do? You are saying P form, you are creating a form. You are creating a form. You are creating a form. And you are creating a form by storing data. Why you are storing the data into the form? To validate. Why you are storing the data within the form? To validate. Is it input data is correct or not? Suppose if the form is not there, if the form is not there, what I have to do? I have to read the name. Request dot post. Request dot post dot get. Request dot post dot get. What is the keys? Name. Then email equal to request dot post dot get. What value you are reading? Email. Whatever data sent to the view, you are reading the data and you are checking. Is it this name and email is valid or not? This name and email is valid or not? You are writing here. But instead of writing the code here, instead of writing this code here, what you are doing? You are writing the code in what? Form. You are writing the code in what? Form. You are writing the code in form. In form, you can do the validations two levels. One is at field level and one more is at form level. One is at field level and one more is at form level. How many types of validations? Two types. One is a field level and one more is a form level. Form level means form level बोले तो क्या है? Field बोले तो one field. Form बोले तो all fields. अरे form level validation is nothing but in one method only you check all the validations. In one method only you check all the validation, that is called form level. Field level means for every field you write one method to check the validation. That is the difference between form level and one more is what? Field level. Getting or not? But how you do the validations? Are you getting or not what I'm telling you? Okay. What is the process is you create a form and you insert that form into the template. You insert that form into what? Template. Okay, template. You inserted that form into template. After that, you enter the data, right? After entering the data, you submit. Then this data is sent to what? View. This data is sent to the view. Then I want to check, is it this data is valid or this data is valid or not? Then how can I check? This is form data or not? Yes. This is whatever data you send, it is which data? Form data. Then how can I verify is it this form data is valid or not? Then you should create a form by inserting this data. You create a form by inserting this data. Where you are inserting this data into form. And then you are checking is it this data is valid or not? Correct or not? You are sending the data. Which data you are sending? Form data. Then your view will read this form data. It will read the data and then store this data again into what? Form. Storing data again into the form is called populating. You are populating the form with the some data. Input data. You are populating form with the input data. After populating the form with the input data, you check the validations. Is it this input data is valid or not? Correct or not? Okay. Input is done using same. and validation is done using same. Now see here I'm creating one form. Suppose this is a form equal to, what is the name of the form? Person form. I'm creating a person form using what here? Data. I'm creating person form using data. Which data? Post data. You send a data using which method? Post method. Post is a dictionary or not? Yes. What it contain? Key and value. Here I have given data. See here. Here I have given data, but here I store which data? In form, which data I stored? Post data. I stored which data? Post data. After storing it, you need to verify is it this data is correct or not. You need to verify is it this data is correct or not. Then how can I verify is it input data is correct or not? By calling one method. There is a method called isValid. IsValid. What is the name of the method is? IsValid. Form dot is valid. If it is valid, what operation you want to do it? If it is valid, what operation you want to do it? If it is invalid, what operation you want to do it? You write here. If it is valid, what do you do it? You read the data and insert into model. You read the data and insert into model. If it is invalid, it will raise what? Error. Saying that this input field must be given in uppercase and this email should end with what? Gmail.com. Are you getting or not? Huh? So how to validate form data? How to validate form data? By storing input data into what? Form. By storing input data within what? Form, you are trying to verify is it this data is valid or not. You input this data, you are storing this data into what? Form. And after storing this data into the form, you are checking is it this data is valid or not by invoking which method? Is valid method. Is valid method is a method of which class? Form class. It is a method of form class. Is it any method called is valid here? No. Okay, but every form is inherited from which class? Form class. Is valid is a method of form class, and that method will call which methods? Validation methods. That will call which methods? Validation methods. But are you write any validation methods? Tell me, are you write any validation methods? No, you have not written any validation methods. Then how can you write a validation methods? You are writing a validation method. How you define the validation method? Every validation method, it follows some rules. It is an instance method, and this method is prefixed with what here? Clean. This method is prefixed with what? Clean. And underscore followed by which name? Field name. This is called as which validation? Field level validation. This is called which validation? Field level validation. This is which validation? Field level. So which field validation you are doing? Or which field validation you are using? Name. Which field validation you are doing? Name. And every validation method should start with which one? Clean. Every validation method start with what here? Clean. And who will call these clean methods? These clean methods are called by clean method of which one? Form class. Clean method of which one? Form class. Okay, you don't call it. You don't call it. It is called by whom? Form. It is called by whom? Form. Because what is the superclass for this person form is? Form. So clean name is an instance method. When I'm saying it is instance method, it is having a key. It is having what? Self. Instance method means it is having which one? Self. It is having a self and it is also having which one? Name. See, this is which validations? Field level validation. This is which validation? Field level validation. Field level validation is a method. A validation method is a method. Okay, this can be done either at field level or it can be at what? Form level. If it is form level, you just override. You override which method? Clean method. This is a override method of which class? Form class. This is a override method of which class? Form class. So this is which validation? Field level. This is which validation? Form level. So you can do validation either at field level or you do the validation at what? Form level. Let me tell you first which validation? Field validation. That is nothing but clean underscore what? Name. Now why should I write this clean underscore name? Because this methods you don't call it. This methods called by whom? Form superclass. Because of that, you need to follow some rules and regulation. It can understand only clean methods, but it cannot understand any other method. It cannot understand any other method. Okay. Now here I need to check is it name is a valid or not. Here I need to check is it name is valid or not. How can I check? How can I check is it name is valid or not? Is it data is sent to this form or not? Is it data is sent to this form or not? Yes, data is sent to this form. Data is sent to what here? This form. Then how can I get that data? The data is sent here. You said person form. Person form object is created with what? Data. What data? Name, email. Person form is having how many values? Two values. One is a name and one more is what? Email. How can I get that name and email? How can I get that name and email? I need to get that name and what? Email. Whatever name I entered, I want to read that name here. Where is that name is stored in a field called which one? Name. Where is that email is stored in the field called which one? Email. Miss, is it is stored in one dictionary or not? Yes. It is stored in one dictionary. And what is the dictionary is the name of the dictionary which contains this data is cleaned data. What is the name of the dictionary? Cleaned data is a dictionary. See, all this you have to remember because this form is somewhat important and very much useful in application development. Up to this clear, any doubts are there, you tell me. I'll repeat again. Online students, online students, up to this clear. Any doubts are there, you tell me, I'll explain. Kubalata agi, because throughout this, now onwards, you'll use everything you do in forms only. But बाद में नहीं बोलना what is a form is. Once more అంటే from where अंकित भाई ऐसे पूछे क्या? Rajesh, from where you want? From where you want? From where you want me to explain? From where you want me to explain? Tell me. I'll explain. Yes. From where you are, Rajesh? Are past year. From where? Is valid. Is valid. What we are doing it? We are reading data. Input data we read and we store that data into what form? Why? For validation. We read the input data and store again into what? Form. Why we store this input data into the form? Validation. Validation. But how can you do that validation? How can you do that validation? By calling which method? Is valid. How can you do that validation by using which method? Is valid. Is valid is a method. So that will call which method? Clean method. That will call which method? Clean method of which one? Form. That will call the clean method of form. That clean method will call clean methods of what? Form. Whatever clean methods you write, all those clean methods it invokes it. All those clean methods it will invoke it. Right? Yes. Post is for creating data. Okay. Yes. But using get also you can create data. But post is a request where you write, you create you delete, or you can do any other operation. Where you do some changes at server side, then use which method? Post method. Using which method? Post method. See, this is how it is. Django dot, see here, Django dot forms dot, what is the name of the class is? Form. Okay, now here form class, this is about HTML forms, and this is what you can do it. Okay, Django form class, here, this is a form class. Okay, there is a form class, and you don't require to write like this. Huh? You can directly write like this. Huh? So it is having is valid. A form instance has is valid method which runs a validation routines for all its fields. When this method is called, if all fields contain valid data, it will return what? True. So place the form data in its cleaned data attribute. Okay, cleaned data attribute. Okay. So inside the view, what you are saying, if request dot method equal to which one? Post. You are storing the data and you are validating the data. If it is valid, you are redirecting to this. If it is invalid, you are creating which form? Empty form again. That's all. Very simple. But you are trying to use which method? Is valid method. Now is valid method returns either true or false. See here, if is valid is true, now able to find all valid data from form data by using which attribute? Cleaned data attribute. If it is valid, it returns that data into cleaned data attribute. Cleaned data attribute. See here how you are writing all this. Now you can also put some widgets and you can do some validations. See here. This is which validation? Form dot is valid. So sorry. Form dot is valid. I'll just want to show you. See, you can do all divisions, styling, everything you can do it. We'll see that. How to handle the errors also we'll see. Every field will have an error. You can display the error also. Okay, field dot errors, whatever fields errors are there, you can display that error. I don't know. Yes, here it is not there. Might be form validation. Okay, I'll just check this. So form validation. Now you can use which method here? What is the name of the method? Clean method. And this is used for checking which validation? Form validation. And there is a clean underscore what name? Field name. And this method is used for custom logic specific to a single field that needs a value in its Python form. So for that you are trying to use what is the name of the method is clean underscore which name? Field name. That is used for which validation? Field level validation. See here, this is so this is valid method will run call this clean method. Is valid method calls which method? Clean method. So there is a validation error, you can use it. Okay. So you can, this validation error is a predefined type. Validation error is which type? Predefined type. So you can use a validators or you can also write your own methods. Okay, you can use a validators or you can write your own methods. Okay. You can see there is a method. What is the name of this is clean. What is the name of the field is recipient, right? Now data equal to self dot. What is the name of the attribute I said? Cleaned data. And then you are checking it. Is it this data is valid or not? If it is valid, you return the data. If it is invalid, what do you do it? Raise a error. If it is valid, you return the data. If it is invalid, you raise what? Error. Understood? So what is the name? What is the name of the attribute? See here. If it is valid, if it is valid, is valid method calls which method? Clean method of which class? Form class. Is valid method calls a clean method of form class. Now here I'll read the name. Name equal to self dot. Self dot. What is the name of the attribute? Cleaned data. What is the name of this is? Cleaned data. And what is the name of the attribute is? Name. But this is self. I said self. Self refers to current object. Very good. Self refers to object. Self refers to which object? Current object. Now that object is having one attribute. What is the name of the attribute? Cleaned data. It is a dictionary. What is a cleaned data is dictionary. What does dictionary contain? Name. You are reading a name. You are reading a name. Now cleaned data. Cleaned data is holding this data or not? Yes. Which data it is holding? Post data. Which data it is holding? Post data. Now you are reading the data by saying name. Now I am checking. If name must be in which case? Uppercase. Is upper. Is upper. If name is in which case? Uppercase, then return. What it return? Name. It return the cleaned name. It return the name. Data is written. Data is written. If name is not in uppercase, if name is not in uppercase, you will say forms dot. Which error is? Validation error. Which error you are raising? Validation error. If the name is not valid, then you are raising which error? Validation error, saying that name should be in which case? Name must be in which case? Uppercase. Name should be in which case? Uppercase. This is which method? This is which method? Validation method. This is which method? Validation method. Every validation method, field level validation method is prefixed with what? Clean. Followed by what name? Field name. Clean. It followed by what name? Field name. Self refers to what? Object. Which object? Form object. This form object contain data or not? Yes. Which data? You put some data, right? Which data you put? Post data. How can I read that data? By using one attribute called which one? Cleaned data. And you are reading the name and you are checking, is it this name is in uppercase or not? If the name is in uppercase, you are returning that name. If the name is not in uppercase, you are raising what? Error. Which error? Validation error, saying that name must be in uppercase. Getting or not? What is say here? Then who will call this clean name method? Clean method. This clean name method is called by clean. Now, if it is valid, what do you do it? If it is valid, what do you do it? You just print some message, send some message by saying response equal to, will create HTTP from Django dot HTTP import HTTP response. If it is valid, I am creating a response, HTTP response. Okay, I just write here valid, valid data, valid data. Otherwise, is it rise an error or not? Yes. Return, what I written here? Response. I return the response. I return the response when it is valid. But if it is invalid, I have to render the same template or not? Yes. So what we'll do is we'll return this response. Now I remove from here. Okay. If it is invalid, it will create. See, if it is invalid, what will happen? It will return the response. Which response? Will it create empty form or not? Yes. It will create empty form if it is invalid. If it is invalid, it will create which form? Empty form. If it is valid, you will get a message valid data. If it is invalid, it will render which template? Empty. It will create a form with what? Empty. But are you displayed any error message? No, you have not displayed any error message. How to display that error message? I'll show you. Right? Yes. You understood this? If request method is get, what will happen? It will create a form and create a response and return that response. Okay. If the request method is a post, you store that data into the form and you are checking is it that data is valid or not. If it is valid, you will get a response. Input data is valid. Input data is valid is written. If it is not valid, it will return what? Response. Same response. Will it create an empty or not? Yes. Understood? So, what is say your yes or no? But next request method is what? Post, right? Then is it this? This is executed. No problem. We'll just check this. Okay, na? Right. See, if you want, you can write like this. If any problem is there in understanding, okay, further we'll extend it. Otherwise, is valid. Return this response. Else, okay, else what do you do it? Response equal to HTTP response. HTTP response. I'm writing H1. Uh, invalid. Invalid what? Data. Invalid data. I've written. That's all. What I want to do is I want to send the same form so that you can input data again. But I send one response saying that this data is not valid. This data is what? Invalid. Okay. So here you can return a response. Same code. Okay. Now you understood this one? Huh? Bolo here. Send a request using which method? Post method. Form. Form method. What is the method is? Post. Form method is what here? Post. You are sending the data using which request method is? Post. Okay. Yes. Then you need to create a URL. urls.py. This is what? Home. Home what? To. Home to. Then path. Home to. Comma. Home to. Okay. Yes. Run the server. Server is running. Server is running. And just see any errors are there or not. Okay. Yes. Now they go here. First, I'm sending a request toward home to. Now tell me this is which request? Typing URL and pressing enter is which request? Get request. You are sending a request to which view? Home to. You are sending a request to which view? Home to. What is the request method is? Get. What is the request method is? Get. If the request method is get, which logic is executed? If logic is executed, now it will create one empty form or not? Yes, it will create one empty form because the request method is what? Get. Request method is get. It will create one empty form. It will create one empty form. Empty form is created. Follow here. Is it else logic is executed or if logic? If logic. Very good. I enter the name. I enter the name in which case? Lowercase. Naresh IT at the rate. This is. After giving this, I click on what? Submit. Request is sent to the same view or different view? Same view. But request method is what? Post. Request method is what? Post. If the request method is post, will it execute if logic or else logic? Else logic. Then what you are doing in else logic? Bolo here. In else logic, what you are doing? You are creating a form by storing data. Whatever data you enter in the form, that data you are storing in what? Person form. Why you are storing it? To check whether it is valid or not. To check whether it is valid or not. How can I check? Is it input data is valid or not? By storing this data again into what? Form. At server side. At server side, you are checking validation, right? So whatever data you input, that data you are storing in what? Form. Whatever data you input, that data you are storing in form. And then you are checking, is it this data is correct or not? By calling which method? Is valid method. Is valid method call which method? Clean method. If the is valid method is true, it returns a cleaned data. If is valid method is false, it doesn't return clean data, you raise what? Error. Agreeing or not? Yes. So it will come to else block. Okay. Suppose now you click on which button? Submit button. Whenever you send a request using post, you have to include one. What is that tag? CS CSRF underscore token. You have to generate this key or not? Yes. We forgot generate the key. Okay. Now input the data and click on submit. Valid? Is data is valid or invalid? But what is my eh? Else part? But valid data is written valid here. Return response. But f dot is valid. What is the condition we checked? Just check the use. I mean, what is validation here? Clean underscore name. Name equal to self dot. Cleaned data name. Okay. If name dot is uppercase. What is the name of the method is upper. If the name is in which case uppercase, then you are returning that name. Otherwise, you are raising which error? Validation error, saying that this name is not valid. Okay, you are raising validation error. Otherwise, you are returning data. So this is what you need to do. You need to write with a method name called clean underscore field name. You read the name by saying cleaned underscore data. Any spelling mistake? Correct only. Written name, otherwise rise a error. Just see at the server side. But you enter in which case? Lowercase only, right? So print name. We'll just check is it receiving data or not. Huh? Sorry. So enter the name and click on submit. See at the server side. Naresh. So name dot is upper, but name is not in upper. Name is in upper. The method is correct, right? Name dot is upper, return name. If it is uppercase, return the name. So here also we print name. Now you have to check validation. What is exactly mistake is? Naresh is written one time only. Yeah. Now it is printed Naresh how many times? One time only. It means this block is not executed. This block is executed, not executed. This block is not executed. Come to this views. And here you just form dot is valid. Form dot is valid. Response, valid data and return response. Else invalid data somewhere. Now correct only because here this if block is not executed. This if block is not executed because is it name is in uppercase? No, it will come to else and then name must be in which case? Uppercase. It generated error, but here what we are doing is we are trying to generate a response. is valid, we'll just see printer. Form dot is valid. Form dot is valid. I want to print. Okay. We'll need to check this here because now is valid underscore. Mm. So values printed is true, but it is not true, right? If name is upper,
So it is return name, print also return the function use କରୁଛି ସେ return function ଦ୍ୱାରା print କରିବ
oh, what we said, forms dot validation error. How you generate the error? Raise. How you generate the error? Raise. Yeah, yeah. Uh, so how you generate the error by using which keyword? Raise keyword. Okay. So here you need to generate an error. So how you generate the error by using which keyword? Raise keyword. Okay. Now here we generate the error. Okay, we generate the error by using raise. Okay. Yes. Is it validation error is a predefined error type or user defined? Predefined. Okay. It is not user defined error type. It is a predefined error type provided by forms. Okay. Yes. Now that is a mistake what we did. Okay. Always you generate an error by using which keyword? Raise keyword. Okay. So just open home to process you understood. Once you press enter, it is which request? Get request. And get request, it will create one empty form. And then you type the data and click on submit. As it request is sent to the same view? Yes. Then that view will read the data. Which data? Post data and store in form. Why you are storing in form? To check valid or not. Submit invalid data. Is it this data is valid or invalid? Invalid. This data is
କାହିଁକି ଡକ୍ଟର
invalid.
କନଫ୍ୟୁଜନ୍ ହେଇଯିବ
Okay, because it is written true or false? False. If it is a
ହଁ
false, then it will come to which block? If it is a false, it will come to which block? Else block, and then display invalid data. Let me enter in which case? Uppercase. I'll enter in uppercase. Narration uppercase. Submit. This data is valid or invalid? Valid. So this is client side validations or server side? Server side. This is not client side validation. This is which validation? Server side validation. And how you are doing server side validation? By storing the data into the form. So form is used for doing how many things? Two things. What is the first one is input and second one is validations. One is for input and second one is for validation. So first you input, then after that you check the validation by storing this data again into what? Form. Okay, now by storing this data again into the form, you check the validation. That is how you are storing again into the forms here. This is creating a form with the data and checking is it this data is valid or not. You understood this process, huh? Bolo here. First we send an empty form. Then we submit the data and we receive the data and then we are checking is it that data is valid or not. Okay, right? Yes. Yeah, I'll tell you यार पहले तो समझ लो. First you try to understand this. Now next what I want is suppose if the name is not in uppercase, then I want to display the message there only. In the template only you'll display the message saying that name should be in which case? Uppercase. Email should end with what? Gmail.com. Now those are nothing but error messages are not? Yes. Then how can I display those error messages? Okay, right? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Right? So I'll put all this in the notes. Okay, so just read it. Okay, you understood this clean method? We'll write more methods. I'll tell you more examples, don't worry. Huh? So tomorrow we'll see more on this, right? Thank you. Right.
ଜି ଅଛି ଏକ୍ସଟ୍ରିମ୍ ଫୋନ୍ର ତାହାର ଦେଖିବା ବହୁତ ନାଇଁରେ ଖାଲି ମା ମେଥଡ଼ ଯାକ
So there is another class here, Chandan. There's one more class is there. I'll share it after the class. Okay. By using CSRF token tag. By using CSRF token tag. Okay. Pradeep Kumar. You want to generate your own CSRF token? Huh? हाँ, लिखो. हम्म, क्या क्या init कंस्ट्रक्टर है वो. हाँ. हाँ. एप्टीट्यूड एप्टीट्यूड पूछते एप्टीट्यूड रहता. एप्टीट्यूड रीजनिंग. पाइथन का रहता. पाइथन अपाई फाउंडर्स. जैंगो रहता. पाइथन रहता. कोडिंग क्वेश्चन भी रहता. आसान ही. पर कोडिंग तो लिखना पड़ता आपको. कोडिंग सीखो. वो तो मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन से रहता. उसमें क्या रहता है? मल्टीपल चॉइस से रहता है. और पाइथन में कोडिंग क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं. नहीं उतना नहीं रहता है यार. मीडियम मीडियम मीडियम. हार्ड नहीं रहता. मीडियम. मीडियम कोडिंग पूछते हो. मल्टीपल चॉइस में पूछ सकते हैं मगर कोडिंग में नहीं पूछ सकते. कौन सा आप लिखे ना इससे पहले? क्या कोडिंग में क्या पूछ? ट्रेडिंग में पूछे क्या? क्या क्या पूछे थे फर्स्ट टाइम?